Yes, just 5 hours away now to the opening bounce of the 2012 Grand Final, and time to take a look at the game from a Hawthorn perspective. To do so, I'm joined by two of the great coaches. Firstly, Brad Scott, coach of the North Melbourne Football Club. Welcome to you, Brad. And the man famous for the creation of the Golden Fist Award and CEO of the Coach Association, Danny Frawley. Welcome to you, boys.
Great to be here, Jared. Yes, Teddy Richards has got a big job on Lance Franklin today, Jared. And as you know, that Josh Gibson is a magnificent spoiler of the Boyle, and obviously you have his hands full with Adam Goods. And Scotty, the both coaches, you've coached against them, Alistair Clarkson, good conniver boy, and Johnny Longmire from Corowa. Tell us a bit about those two lads.
Yeah, two great North Melbourne people, although allegiances lie elsewhere today. But no, outstanding coaches. Clarko, rightly credited as being a terrific tactician, has been at the forefront of modern football tactics for a long time now. And John Longmire has been just absolutely outstanding as a senior coach for Sydney in a really smooth transition from Paul Roos. Does it differently to the way Paul Roos did it, but is doing an outstanding job.
Brad, this has been described as attack versus defence. Hawks number one attack, the Swans number one defence. Is that how you see it?
In a way, I see it more as a battle of the midfields. I think that the Swans' defence has held up extremely well all year and very, very good at stopping the long high ball that comes in. But I see the midfield battle as being the crucial one, and the one I'm concerned about from a Hawthorn perspective is one of the best midfielders in the competition this year, Sam Mitchell. I think Kieran Jack will go to him, and Kieran Jack's a terrific matchup, and if Jack can get on top in that matchup, a lot of pressure goes on the rest of the Hawthorn midfield.
Let's take a look at the lineup, Danny, from a Hawthorn perspective. They've made one change, unfortunately for Tom Murphy. He misses out again, and it is Luke Hodge. The skipper comes back in.
Yeah, and rightly so. Enormous medalist Luke Hodge. I think Ryan Schoenmaker's in the back half, Jared, is an interesting one because there's no Tommy Hawkins there's no Travis Cloak. So I think the fact that Sydney have got 3 or 4 key forwards in Adam Goods, Reid, etc. I think Ryan Schoenmaker's been pretty relaxed with that. I think the run and the counter-attack that Hawthorn have got through, Grant Birchall has been all-Australian, and Suckling. They're the two players I think that Sydney really need to mind. And obviously the midfield with Sewell. If you're coaching, you're Alistair Clarkson, do you put Brad Sewell onto Kennedy?
Well, I think he's a logical matchup. The concern I would have is that I think Kennedy's got the better of Sewell twice this year. So that's not denigrating Sewell. Kennedy's got on top of most players he's played on this year. But I think you have to go with Sewell again. I'll be concerned about Mitchell with Kieran Jack, and I suspect Jordan Lewis will play a defensive forward role, on a Malcheski or possibly a Reece Shaw. And we saw Jordan Lewis do a terrific job on Reece's brother Heath against Collingwood, where he kicked 5 goals.
Yes, the Sydney Swans back in the grand final for the 3rd time in 7 years. A magnificent performance from my old team. To join us to have a chat about the Sydney Swans' chances in the match are a couple of Fox Footy's finest rising stars in Brad Johnson and David King, 2-time premiership player with the Kangaroos. Or should we call you General King, because you've been stuck in that war room all final series. You've done a great job. Welcome.
I've been there for a month, Jared. They've let me out on day release today, but I'm back in there at 1 o'clock today for the pre-game, half-time again on Fox, and then post-game for the review.
Plenty of analysis. Jono, I just got a call from a mate of mine from the Port Campbell Hotel, about 3 hours west of Melbourne, and the mail there is it's absolutely belting down with hail.
Yeah, I had the same text message as well, because my wife's family are all from Port Campbell, and the hail is coming.
Who does it suit the poor weather, the inclement weather, Jono?
Oh, look, I think it suits the Hawks. I like the way they go about it with their contested possession, but we do focus on the Sydney Swans, and their midfield is so strong. And you go back to round 16 when they were able to defeat the West Coast Eagles at Patterson Stadium, and that was the big game for me, the defining moment for Sydney's season in terms of them being a big contender in this year's season, and they were able to do that with a big win over there.
Kingy, let's take a look at the Sydney Swans team. It's pretty easy. I think no changes. Mike Pike would be pretty pleased to wake up to the sunny weather, but will there be a change if the hail does reach Melbourne?
I don't think so, Jared. I think they're pretty settled as a 22. Mike is a different sort of player. They need him in the ruck anyway, so I'll be surprised they make a change this late stage. A very settled team all season, really. This is probably, when you look at the team at the moment, they've probably got 2 players you'd bring in terms of injury at the moment. Gary Rowan had come in, and obviously McGlynn would be the other one, but this is probably the best 22 they've got available.
Looking at their defence, that has been their hallmark. The form of Ted Richards has been quite superb. They push the numbers back, they open it up, Jono. They have the slingshot. What a great word to have introduced into the football vernacular, the slingshot. And the bloke who's generally the stone in the slingshot is Lewis Jetta. You spoke to him yesterday, and despite some suggestions that it may not suit him, the weather, he thinks he's just going to dance over the puddles.
Oh, he glides over the puddles. That was his term yesterday. And he had that air of confidence about him, which I really liked in his approach to the interview. And look, it's exciting for Jetta. He's an exciting player. We all want to see how he's going to go today. It'll be Jetta versus Rioli in some ways. Who will have the bigger impact from the sparks of both teams? So looking forward to the way he goes about it. He's back in good form, kicking multiple goals again.
The one thing he won't get, Jared, is that space in behind. You can imagine that Gibson, Hodge, these guys, they'll just hold on that last line. Collingwood weren't able to do that last week, I should say, so Hawks won't fall for that trap today.
Well, the Sydney Swans learned from how Adelaide dismantled their defence and just chipped the ball forward and opened them up a bit.
Use that short ball through the corridor. It left them vulnerable at the back end. Showamagas one-on-one. Gibson couldn't get there to help. I'd assume today that Hodge will be playing a very loose role across half-back, and he'll be getting back to make sure they don't get outmarked in their forward 50.